This picture gonna be alive too.
That's a lot there.
Okay, perfect. Boom. Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. And that is none other than Brother Cornelius Muhammad. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
This is an extreme honor to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, sir, that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come on with us. The first question, we want to get into the farming, and we want to get into that, and then you meeting the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But first, we want to know, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Beg your pardon?
When did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, back in 1967, my brother worked at a company, and one of the nation, one of the brothers in the nation was working there, and he invited my brother to the temple in South Bend, Indiana, Mosque number 31. And my brother came home and talked to me, and I said, "Man, that sounds like something we ought to go see." So we attended the mosque, and brother Minister Samuel, I couldn't hardly sit in my seat. I got so excited about when they explained about pork, the pig, being coming from a combination of a rat, cat, and dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, Brother Samuel, he didn't know me. It's the first time he ever saw me, but I just couldn't wait to get back home, because we lived on a farm, and I knew that if the hog was created from a rat, cat, and a dog, I got to see this. So I couldn't hardly wait to get back home to analyze this to myself. And I said, now, if he's a dog, if it's part dog, he gotta give me some sign of a dog. And I got to thinking, when a bunch of hogs, mother hogs, which are called sows, are laying out back, relaxing with their babies. And if you scare them, they're just laying out sleeping. If you scare them, whoop, she'll bark just like a dog. And that was a danger sign. All the pigs would squat down and know what's something dangerous. Well, that was a dog right there. Now, okay, that's the dog. Now I gotta see the cat. And I got to thinking, every time the mama hog get ready to have babies, you put her in a pen about the size of a bedroom. And you throw a bale of straw in there so she can make her bed. And she will make her bed over in one corner. And every time she go to the bathroom, she'll turn around in the opposite corner and use the bathroom. Would not nasty her old bed. And so right away, that's the cat. So then on the farm, we got rats. So I pictured a rat, and I said, let me see a rat. Take a regular rat, take a picture of him and blow it up about the size of a hog. And he'll look just like his first cousin. Long tail, long nose, and the rat, cat, and dog have babies real often. 7 or 8 babies, just like a hog. I mean, I stopped eating pork that day in 1967 because I had no doubt. Now, to top that off, why was a hog created? Well, when Musa went in Europe to clean up the devil or the cave people, he come back and said, man, I can't stand the filth. We got to come up with something that will go in and clean up the filth. That's when the black scientists got together and created a hog. Now, on the farm, anything that died, rotted, or spoiled, we fed it to the hogs. They loved it. And then when you get to weigh 150, 200 pounds, you're going to knock him in the head and put him on the table and eat him. I didn't have no trouble stop eating a hog because I witnessed all of this. Anything that died, rotted, or spoiled, you throw it to the hogs. They were created to be a scavenger. Go in and eat old dead bodies back in the cave. All that, and with a nose, they root it up. You know, if you let a hog get out in your yard, he'll root up your whole yard. Because that's what they do. So I didn't have no problem with that. And so I couldn't wait to join the nation. I mean, I couldn't wait to join the nation. But at the time, in living on the farm, I was a salesman for a company called France, FRANTZ, France Oil Company. And what did they produce? They produced a filter that I could put on your car in 30, 40 minutes, and you would never have to change your oil again. It would keep your oil so clean, it would look like alligator syrup. And to change the filter was a roll of toilet paper. Back then it cost 10 cents. Well, you know what happened to that company? They put them out of business, because you keep all that clean, your car won't wear out. But anyway, I was in Chicago trying to make a sale, and just new in the nation, I saw this sign that said Shabazz Barbershop. I said, oh man, some brothers. So I went stop, park, went in there, and got in. One of the brothers I met was Brother Akbar. And so he said, we were just talking. He said, what do you really do when you're not doing this? I said, actually, I live on a farm. So anyway, he had me go out and put an oil filter on his Cadillac. And so he said, I know somebody I think would like to meet you. I said, well, who is that? He said, it's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I'm his personal barber. He said, next time I'm cutting his hair, I'm going to whisper in his ear about you. He said, and you will probably get a phone call inviting you to dinner. And brother, that's exactly what happened. And the messenger had a big long table. He sat at the head of the table.
Yes, sir.
And my seat was the first one on the right next to him. And it was an honor and a pleasure meeting him. And we, after several times invited to dinner, we got into the discussion of, building a nation farm. And so one day he said, brother, I want to invite your parents over, my mother and father, to spend the night. I mean, he didn't ask me to spend the night, but he invited them over to spend the night. And so anyway, I later was talking with Brother Akbar. At that time, it was Brother Major back in this. And so I said, well, why he asked my parents to come over and spend the night? He didn't ask me. He said, brother, he wanted to check your roots and see if you was really what he was looking for. Because my father had a third grade education, and so did the messenger. So they hit it off real good. Both of them being from the South. Anyway, that was the beginning of conversation on creating a farm. And like I say, I lived on a farm. We had 173 acres family farm. And so we, I don't want to prolong this, but it's a long story.
Yes,
but
sir.
anyway,
Yes,
we got to talking about the farm, and so he said, well, brother, why don't you just take inventory of your farm, and we'll pay you for it, and you'll just farm for us. And so I said that was all right, but they never paid us. We did that, but the brothers never paid us, because boy, they wasn't glad at all. But anyway, then he said, you think we can buy some land? I said, sure. So he said we started looking around for some more land. And again, to make a long story short, we started buying pieces of land, putting together a puzzle. And he said, brother, if anybody asked you, and we had to buy it in my name, because at that time, we couldn't mention. He said, well, if somebody asked you, where you getting all this money, just tell them there's some niggas in Chicago got some money and you spend it for them. But after so long, they really figured out that it was not just me. And so then the headlines started hitting around all across the country. Muslims buying land in Cass County, Michigan. Well, at that time, we accumulated about 1,000 acres. And so it was really too late for them to try to do something. So what they did, they told the natives and the black people and whoever in that neighborhood that Muslims buying land in Cass County, Michigan, and they're going to build barns to train soldiers to fight white folks. That's the word they put out with the neighborhoods to scare them. And so, you know, we started building. We built a dairy barn that held 100 milk cows. I mean, with the modern technology. You know, we had a milking parlor where 2 people in the parlor would bring in 8 cows at a time and wash them down and get them milk. And then the milk would go through stainless steel pipes into the 1,500-gallon tank over in the milk room. It was something to see. And then we built a chicken house that held 10,000 chickens that lay eggs every day. And then later we added on to it another 12,000. So in all total, we had chicken houses that held 22,000 chickens that lay eggs every day. And one of the most important things you can eat a day is an egg. That's one of the healthiest things. Everybody should eat an egg a day for their health. And so then, you know, we like to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken and all this chicken. So I said, well, we raise our own chicken. So we built 2 barns. Each one held 8,000 chickens. And every 8 weeks, I would order 8,000 baby chicks and put in the barns. And in 8 weeks, they was ready to butcher. And we butchered those chickens on the farm. I remember the day that we got the word that Dr. King had been killed. In fact, we were out in the building butchering chickens. My mother gutted. We butchered 1,600 chickens that day, and my mother gutted every one of them. I mean, and we packed them in ice, and But anyway, that was chickens, and then we had, we like lamb, so we got 100 sheep. 100 sheep that had lambs every year, and we sheared the wool. And so, it was quite interesting. It's quite an experience. People drove for thousands of miles just to pass by the farm to see it. Sometimes they would stop and walk over me looking for the boss, as they call it. And finally, they finally get back to me. Oh, you the guy we need to talk to. I wasn't but 26 years old, so I didn't look like nobody that could run an operation like that. And I was just out working just like everybody else. And so then we bought a fruit farm, 50 acres, that had 15 acres of varieties of apples, 6 acres of ready-to-pick strawberries, had another 15 or 20 acres of all kinds of fruits and vegetables that we irrigated. And, it was just something to see that Black folks was doing. And so the people in the neighborhood began to realize, man, they ain't training no soldiers. These folks for real. And then, they started coming around wanting a job. And it turned out to be, the neighborhood was really great, but there was still a few people that didn't want that to be successful. I know when I was putting together the 100-cow milk, dairy barn, I didn't buy 100 cows at one time. I would go to different auctions. I'd buy 5, 10, 15, a different one. And finally, I needed about 10 more to finish the 100 herd. And me and my dad went down to Indiana trying to find the other 10. And I got introduced to a company, and they said, yeah, we could fill that order for you. And all the other ones, I hauled myself. I didn't depend on nobody else to bring them to the farm. I brought them. And every time I would get ready to load them, I would give them all a 20 cc penicillin shot. Because moving cattle like that, you have a danger of shipping fever. And believe it or not, the last 10 cows that I had delivered, them folks made sure they had shipping fever. And so we brought those 10 cows in and put them in the barn with the other 90. And in a few days, I knew I had a problem. So I called the veterinarian in town to come out and, trying to see what's going on. If something's wrong. Well, he put it off and said, well, maybe they got hardware or something. In other words, he was lying. And what he was actually doing was giving it enough time for it to spread through the herd. And so then we realized that it was shipping fever. So then, now it's shipping fever. So then he had to treat them. He said, well, we got to blah, blah, blah. We got to throw the milk away. He said, so we'll figure out which ones got shipping fever. I said, no, we're going to throw the milk away from all of them. You treat all of them. I don't want to be hitting and missing. So we threw the milk away for 72 hours before they could, before we could clean up the shipping fever. But a few months later, a friend of mine stopped by to see me. He said, Mr. Williams, he said, anytime you need a veterinarian again, there's a Jewish veterinarian over in another town. And she told me to tell you to call her because she had heard about what had happened. Jewish veterinarian. See, there's a lot of good people to help us. So anyway, we got that straightened out. But the problem was all the cows that had shipping fever aborted their calves. And my dad, boy, I'm telling you, he had to become a vet because he had to pull dead calves out of lots of cows. So we lost that whole year of birth. But again, these are things we had to weather to survive. And but it was a great experience. But one of the things when we first started getting the farm going, and I wanted to get some help. And again, I'm new in the nation, excited about the brotherhood. Boy, I just really, and so it was. So I told him. He said, "Well, brother, you hire who can do the job. In other words, don't care what color it is, if they can do the job,
Yes,
you
sir.
hire." But now I was hard-headed because I was excited, and the brothers at the mosque was excited. Man, can we come to the farm? And I got about 4 or 5 of them to come work on the farm. And that was my biggest mistake. Not that they weren't good brothers, but they just they weren't farmers. I mean, when you got to pick up 22,000 eggs every day. See, farming is for real. It's no joke. It's work, but it's good work. Now people go to the gym and pay to exercise. You need to go to work on the farm or do something. Go to work in your backyard, raise something in your backyard. We should be raising something that we eat every day. If it ain't nothing but some flower pots on the windowsill, you need something real because what you bring home from the store is not real. Read the labels. They don't hide it. So we got to get serious about food. The message said, brother, a nation that can't feed themselves do not have a future. Agriculture. There's no life. Agriculture is life. There's no life without agriculture. And one of the main things we need to realize is that life is agriculture. Every day you get up, you're planting the garden of life. We wonder why we have so much trouble. You don't realize agriculture is involved in everything. So, and what am I going to plant every day? Well, you plant a smile, you plant a hello, a thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Open the door for the lady. Do something. That's planting. I mean, you put money in the bank. You can't draw it out if it ain't in there. You got to plant some money in the bank. It's real simple. Do unto others as you have done unto you, they say. So we got to get serious about agriculture. There's no culture without agriculture. We got to, the message say, if y'all don't do it, Allah will raise up a nation that will. We got to get our youth involved in agriculture. Now, for the last 20 years, I've been showing people in Detroit, Grand Rapids, and various places how to grow food in their backyard. If it ain't nothing but a 4x8 box filled with some compost, and you plant your garden. But number one, you can show your children where food come from. Oh, my milk don't come from cow, it come from A&P, Kroger's. They don't know. They need to know where
Yes,
food
sir.
come from and how hard somebody worked for you to eat every day. You know, most of the world don't consider farmers very smart, but they feed you. We got to get serious about agriculture. So, you know, that's the bottom line. We got to eat, and we need to eat what's real. And so, you know, so me and the messenger had very, you know, we sit and talk like father and son. It's an honor to have lived to experience him personally. You have no idea. He, you know, my mother would make buttermilk, and he loved fertile brown eggs. So I would bring him fertile brown eggs and buttermilk. Me and him sit there and have a ball, eating real food. But it's work every day. We got to create some real farmers. You know, he called me one day and said, "Brother, I want you to go to Georgia and look at a farm they're trying to sell us." I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, I'm in Phoenix right now. I want you to go to Chicago. They're gonna get you a ticket. You fly out here to Phoenix and spend the night with me. And the next morning, I'm gonna tell you what I want you to do, and you go do it." But this particular time, I wasn't going to Georgia. He wanted me to go to Florida and look at a 50,000-acre citrus farm. And so when I got back to Chicago, Brother Sharif and the realtor was waiting on, had my ticket, and we three got on the plane and flew to Florida. Well, man, how do you look at 50,000 acres in a day? I had to rent a helicopter. So I flew around and surveyed what the farm looked like. So on the way back on the plane, Brother Sharif and the realtor asked, "Hey, man, what do you see? How they look?" I said, "If y'all show up for dinner tomorrow, you'll find out. My job is to report to the messenger, not y'all." And so the messenger asked me, "Well, brother, how did it look? What do you see?" I said, "Well, dear Holy Apostle, I saw more swamp and alligators than I did anything." Well, needless to say, we didn't buy that farm. And so he said, "Man, you go back to the farm in Michigan, and then when I need you again, I'll call you to go check out another." And I checked out one in Alabama and some other ones, but then one day he called me, wanted me to go to Georgia and look at this farm. And so I flew down, and this particular farm was 1,600 acres in Brownwood, Georgia. And it was a beef farm. Two white families from Michigan had moved to Georgia and bought this farm, 1,600 acre cattle, beef farm, beef cattle. Yes, we eat beef. And so I came back and told him what I saw. He said, "Okay, brother, we'll buy that farm." And I think that's what we have today. And so, and then pretty soon, I got grounded. I didn't get called to go look at no more farms. And I was trying to figure out why. Well, I think I finally figured it out. I was stopping too many sales, too much kickback, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My job was to come back and tell the truth. And so I got grounded. And then, but still I was, managing a Michigan farm. And then there was a Brother Hall in Alabama managing the Alabama farm. And so we, and the manager, we all managing the farms for the brotherhood. So we need to get together, exchange ideas. And so I called a brother and we got to talk. I said, "Man, I'd like to come down there and, we just chit chat." He said, "Okay." So we made arrangements, and I went to Georgia. I went to Alabama. This was Alabama. And when I got down there, he was harvesting watermelons. And he raised watermelons and soybeans. And so, and this particular brother, Merrill Hall was his name. His brother was down there visiting from Detroit. You know, we all had a ball, you know, everybody liked a good watermelon. But to make a long story short, I got back to Michigan about 2 weeks later, and I was coming out of the chicken house, and here comes a fella to meet, you know, that just parked his car and got out. And I met him. He said, he was grinning like a chessy cat because I had just saw him in Alabama, the Alabama manager's brother, Jimmy Hall. So he was just cheesing, boy. And he said, but he didn't know how to tell me. He said, the messenger sent me up here to take over the Muslim farm and be the manager, which was quite a shock. And so I said, okay, brother, if you can do better than me, more power to it. I said, now, how are we going to do this? He said, well, you're supposed to move out of the big house that I had, 13-room house that when we first got it years ago, the messenger had me to remodel it and the upstairs have it fixed up for him. So if when he come to visit, you know, he'd have a place. Well, he never came to visit, but you know, it was a nice house, 13-room, right there on the farm where all the chickens and cows was. But anyway, so I told, okay, brother, I mean, anything that will benefit the nation.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, me and my wife, we moved out into one of the other houses. The bathroom wasn't fixed. I mean, it was not a very good place to move into. But anyway, I did. And so this brother moved in with his family. But after, you know, when he first got there and told me that, about 2 hours after he come and told me that, the messenger called me. He said, Brother Cornelius, he said, there's a brother coming up there to take over the Muslim farm. He said he's an experienced commercial farmer, and you were just a family farmer. So, you know, just move out into one of the houses and maybe one day we can, you know, have a place for you. I said, no Apostle, anything to do what we can do. But he didn't know that I had just seen this brother in Alabama. And check this out. Junior or somebody told the messenger they had a commercial farmer. Mr. Hall had just retired from Cadillac Motor Company in Detroit. Now, how could he be a commercial farmer if he'd been working at Cadillac Motor Company for the last 25 years? But anything to get rid of Cornelius, anything. I mean, like I say, every week they would send somebody to the farm to try to get some dirt on me to eliminate. They couldn't stand all this money going into agriculture to feed us. That was taking too much of their play money in Chicago. So moved out, he moved in, you know, in a week or two, he got his family up here. And so whoever lived in that house, right there was the egg house, 22,000 chickens that lay eggs. My kids and family have been picking up them eggs every day. So now I'm out of here, it's your job. Man, his wife and kids, after a week, they say, we getting the hell out of here. We a Detroit lady, ain't never been on the farm before. And so about a month or so later, in fact, then every day Mr. Hall would call me. He said, man, can you come help me? Because he didn't know nothing. So that lasted. And finally they had to get the family farmer back in business. I mean, but that fella didn't do it. And you know, it's just, and then later on, they replaced me with another guy from that used to be something for the nation in some foreign country. So he come to manage the farm. So I moved out again. He moved in. I forget his name. But anyway, he was there for a while. He was there long enough to sell 80 acres of timber that we had on another farm. We called that farm the 10-mile farm, but that farm was 10 miles away, 300 and some acres. So he sold that 80 acres of timber. I know once I had Michigan State to come out and survey that 80 acres of timber, and it was some of the best wood. I mean, you'd have to bend your head all the way back just to look up at them trees. And you know, and the fellow from Michigan State, he said, "Man, all you gotta do is just let it grow." He said, "This will be some forest in a few years. Just let it grow." Well, anyway, he sold it, and he just didn't sell the good timber. He sold the whole 80 acres. Y'all take everything. And then in addition to that, because nobody knew what was going on, because that 80 acres was not close to the other 300 acres that was 10 miles away. It was down the road. So he got, you know, and see, they would come always trying to get me to do things that that wasn't supposed to do. So he took it up on. And so then he set fire to the house, to the big house, and got that insurance. And then he stole the bulldozer and disappeared. I don't know where he went. So then I had to come back again. But it's been a journey. Not all good, but you know. And like I say, every week they would send somebody to the farm trying to get some dirt on me. And one day, Muhammad Ali's first wife, I think her name was Belinda or something. Anyway, she came up there, and just happened that day, the milk cows had got out. And if a cow get out and get in the alfalfa field early in the morning when the dew is still on it, you know, still wet, and they eat a belly full of alfalfa, a few hours later, they will start to swell up. And so that particular day, 4 of the $1,000 cows was laying out in the lot dead. She couldn't wait to take pictures to run back to give Junior to show the message. Now I could have did like they did in Alabama, you know. That was a farm. We had a farm in Alabama. We had some brothers down there taking care of some beef cows. All this can be proven. And so one week in the Muhammad Speaks paper, somebody's poisoning our cows in Alabama. It was a big write-up. You know, so that's terrible. But anyway, Alabama is where my family is from, and I had, still had relatives in Alabama. So I was talking with my uncle one day. I said, "Man, we had some problems in Alabama. Somebody poisoned our cows." He said, "Junior," he called me Junior because he's my father's brother. He said, "Junior, didn't nobody poison them cows. Them niggas just didn't take care of them cows, and they died." But that was the cover up. Say somebody poisoned. Nobody poisoned them cows. Just like I could have said somebody poisoned them before they died. But no, I was figuring out how I was going to personally buy 4 cows to replace them. And then, I'm just letting you know some of the stuff that went on. I can't tell you all of it, because boys, it's just, I don't, I hate to talk about somebody who's already dead, but Junior. But I got to tell you this. The last time we put the cows together fill up the barn, some of the ones we bought, I needed $40,000. So the messenger said, "Brother, I'll have somebody bring the check up there to you, and you just go ahead and pay for them." Well, guess who brought it? Well, Junior. And when he brought it to give it to me, there wasn't nobody around but me and him. He took the check and stuck it in my face and said, "Nigga, you spending my money now." The check was made out on the messenger's personal fund. Temple number 2 poor fund. Nigga, you spending my, all these other times you're trying, now you're spending my money. And another experience I had, again, they would give me trouble. And there was a lot of expense on the farm. And so I would go over. The messenger told me, "Brother, anytime you need to see me, you come see me, even if I'm upstairs." He said, the messenger told me more than once, when it comes to the farm, it's just you and me. He said, "My followers think the white man gonna keep feeding them." He said, "So it's just me and you." So anyway, they kept, every time I go over with the receipts to get money to pay the bills, and leave them, and then they lose them. So then I got me a copy machine. I started making copies of all the receipts. And so one day I went over, I said, the old apostle, I need the money to pay the bills this week. You know, we got 22,000 chickens, need a lot of feed, tons of feed a week. And so and then, you know, we at the dinner table, it's always at the dinner table, and all the officials, everybody sitting around. He said, brother, you just wait till this evening and y'all go get the money. Give him the money so he can go back and pay the bills. Come to find out they didn't have the money. And so that really created a situation. And so the master said, hey, y'all get, you know, so that's when he had to write a check out of his account. And so he decided to check on all the businesses, and they was jamming all of them. He wound up having to spend over $1 million to bail the different supermarkets, the Shabazz Bakery, to bail everybody out. Boy, you think they didn't like me before? Now they really didn't like me. But anyway, brother, it's hard for me to share in a few minutes what was over probably 10 years.
Yes, sir.
And that was 50 years ago. So it took, you know, my memory is not as good as it was 50 years ago. I was 26. I was 26, you know, started out about 25 or 26. And this past year I was 81. So, and I'm still on the throne. It's still me and the messenger. You know, in one of our conversations, he said, Brother Cornelius, he said, just stay true and hold fast. He said, one day in America, the money is going to change. He said, we scuffling now with nickel, dimes, and quarters from the believers to do what we do. He said, but one day in America, the money is going to change, and you're going to know. And then you will be able to have enough money to buy all the land, all the equipment that we need to feed a nation.
Oh, praises due to Allah.
But he didn't tell me it was going to be more than 55 years later.
Yes, sir. Well, Brother Cornelius,
I'm still here.
Allahu Akbar.
Thanks to Allah. But
yes,
but now this year, brother, is going to be the most exciting year in history. We're living in the greatest time ever to be alive. Satan, the devil's time was up in 2021. 2022, God says my time.
All praise due to Allah.
And we're about to go into, I mean, all we've ever been taught from all the way through school, the news and everything have been lying to us. Lying to us. But you're going to see some exciting things happening this year. For those of us that get Social Security checks every month, Social Security in America is going to triple up to $5,000. I tell people that, oh, you got to be crazy. It's Allah's time. So it's amazing. Like I say, we're living in the greatest time ever to be alive.
Yes, sir.
So there's Chinese that's hundreds of years old. They got a med bed that's coming out. Well, it's already out, but just the public don't know it yet. But it can regress your age back to whatever you want to go to. Unbelievable, brother.
Yes, sir.
Allah is in charge.
All praise due to Allah. Brother Cornelius, some people are showing you love from across the country. My sister Miriam, Sister Sonia says, teach on that. Assalamu alaikum. People are sending you love from all over Facebook, and I can't wait to put this on YouTube. I have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors, Brother Cornelius, of the People's Podcast that I want to make sure. Hold on. Yes, sir. 1 second. Here we go. There we go.
You just doing commercial.
Okay, here we go. For all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, if you would like to be a sponsor or donor, please cash at the People's Podcast. Thank you very much for every sponsor or donation. My brother Rashad, Street Premiere Media Production. He has a 4K camera, a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please go get both of her books. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Please sign up your daughters. Rod Communications, if you're working on a book and you need project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rod Communications. Also, fashion guides. If you're looking for urban men, streetwear, and fashion, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dressed fresh. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas. Conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Please get her book. Sister Sherry Muhammad, AJ Minds, they teach STEM virtually to young kings and queens all across the country and right here in the studios. All across the country and ajminds.com. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the country. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse. Thank you all for each sponsor and donation. We're right back to our brother Cornelius for his time with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his farming and things that we look forward to today. Yes, sir. Brother Cornelius, I had a quick question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Did you ever fall in love?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how important was having a woman, a wife by your side? How important was that?
Brother, if God made anything better, he kept it to himself.
Mm.
You know, I've talked to, over the years, back in 2019, there was a bean pie festival in Detroit, well, actually in Romulus, Michigan. And I met the sister that was over the school. I'm a school in Chicago. And she and I got to talking. And I was telling her some of the experiences on the farm. She said, brother, you need to come talk to our children. I said, I know I do, because that's where it's at. She said, well, I'm going to make sure that happens. Well, anyway, I've talked to other sisters from California and around the country, and it has never happened. When they get back to the brotherhood, the farm we had in Michigan was over a $3 million farm. And nobody talked to me today anything about the farm. Something wrong, brother. I'm the messenger's farmer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The sisters want to do something. They're the backbone of the black man. But he's not doing what he should do. We gotta get agriculture into our schools, children. When you take a child to the store and show them okra, tomatoes, apples, then you should be able to go home and show it to them on a plant and how it come about. Agriculture. There's no future without agriculture. I appreciate this opportunity, and it's not the last time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, just two more questions for you, Brother Cornelius, before you go. What type of music do you listen to, sir?
What kind of music?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not really much into music. I enjoy, just good music. Just nothing special. And again, I used to listen to Whitney Houston.
Okay. Okay.
And the Motown music.
Yes, sir.
But let me give you a little shock. John F. Kennedy Jr. is not dead. Princess Diana is not dead. Michael Jackson is not dead. There's many people we think is dead that are not. And there's many we think is alive, is not. The last 4 presidents are all dead. You might see some clones walking around, We've been lied to. The news and everything we see now is like watching a movie. All lies. But don't miss the end of the movie. It's coming up soon. The truth will be told.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And people are showing you love all on Facebook. Oh, my last question for you, sir. What do you what do you want your legacy to be, Brother Cornelius?
Well, I got a lot to do to create agriculture around the brotherhood and the world. I want my legacy to be that I was one that helped create to feed a nation.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. So many people showing you love. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, sir.